Every month, gameranx goes through all of the games coming out and tries to figure out which ones are most worth paying attention to. And that's this. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, the top 10 new games you need to pay attention to in October 2022. Starting off with number 10, Overwatch 2. I think this is probably one you're not going to be able to not pay attention to if you don't want to, which takes the popular Overwatch, which was not a free-to-play game, it was something that cost money to play, makes it free to play, replaces the old game, opens it up to anybody who wants to play it. They've moved over from 6 versus 6 to 5 versus 5. They've added a number of new characters, and I'm sure they've figured out some interesting new ways to make money, given it's free. You got the Battle Pass, and I know there's a $40 package. I don't know why you would buy a $40 package to a free-to-play game, but hey, I'm not the target audience for paying money for a free game. I doubt the marketing team was up late at night trying to figure out how to get the microtransaction critic audience. I am actually excited about Overwatch 2. I really didn't get into the original one. I thought that the 6 versus 6 was a little too chaotic. Bringing it down to 5 versus 5, I think, is a really good idea, but I'm also somebody who chose Valorant over the original Overwatch, so, I mean, the opinion is a little biased on that. Overwatch 2 is out on October 4th on PC, the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and Switch. At number 9 is Dragon Ball: The Breakers. Basically, if you take the concept of an asymmetrical horror survival multiplayer game, and instead of having horror, it's a Dragon Ball game. There you go. It's kind of an interesting version of it, though, in that it's a 1 versus 7 online asymmetrical game, and you almost never take control of, like, normal people in the Dragon Ball universe in any Dragon Ball game, and that's precisely what you're doing here. One player is Cell, Frieza, or Boo, and the other players are just normal, non-powerful randoms who have to either avoid or find a way to take on the Raider. Now, this is genre that can feel a little played out, but in all honesty, I think this looks like a fresh take on it. Dragon Ball: The Breakers is coming to PC, the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and Switch on October 14th. At number 8 is A Plague Tale: Requiem, the sequel to Plague Tale: Innocence, the indie stealth narrative experience, which was set in inland France during the course of the plague. You were a young woman whose brother has sort of a dark power to him. He's able to control the rats, which obviously is very tied to the plague. What we've learned about the sequel is that Hugo is going to be a lot more active. There's a lot more mechanics involving him actually controlling the rats, and it's not like that didn't exist in the first game, but it's expanded upon here. Narratively speaking, it also looks just a lot more grand, a lot more dark, but also set in the south of France, so a lot prettier and more colorful, despite the fact the story is probably actually a lot more serious and grim. It looks just like a huge improvement over the first game, and also it's supposedly going to be longer than the first game, which is good. The first game, that's probably the main complaint I have about it. It probably could have gone on a little longer. I love Plague Tale: Innocence. I'm really excited for Plague Tale: Requiem. It's landing on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series on October 18th. At number 7 is Victoria 3, the sequel to the 2010 grand strategy game Victoria 2, a simulation of 100 years from 1836 to 1936. I think a very interesting era to simulate in this form. Grand strategy, of course, you got the city building, you got the battle, you got the management, you got all that stuff, exploration. You really have a lot of flexibility. Let's say you want to do an industrial society, or let's say you don't. Let's say you want to do a traditional agrarian minimalist society. It's all there. You can do all of it. You got the ability to research new technology. You have the ability to regulate and control industry, make all the deals. And of course, you have the ability to be a tyrant. You could suck. if you want, because you have the choice of balancing, the needs of your workers with employing the labor force. Why not? Why not play an evil run, Victoria 2 was a pretty great game, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be expanding upon the scope of that game a lot from the looks. But even if they weren't, even if they were just bringing that game into a new generation, making it visually better and function like a modern game, Victoria 3 would probably be worth it. I expect it to be quite good. Victoria 3 comes out on PC on October 25th. At number 6 is Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, a 4v1 Ghostbuster versus Ghost asymmetrical multiplayer game. Both the teams are obviously very, very different. When you're a Ghostbuster, it's a first-person shooter. You're on a team of 3 human players. You're tracking ghosts, you're catching them, undoing the damage done by them, etc. And when you play as a ghost, it's just you control the ghosts, and you basically are trying to scare all of the non-player characters in the location by making loud noises, possessing stuff, haunting. This comes to us from the same developer that has pretty much done all of the good, if short-lived, asymmetrical multiplayer games. Friday the 13th, Predator Hunting Grounds. This one seems different enough. Like, it has its own mechanics to such an extent that it feels like it might have some staying power. It looks pretty clever, and of course it's charming as all hell. You got Ernie Hudson and Dan Aykroyd in the game. I mean, in all honesty, it actually looks like a fresh take on this genre. And I said in the Dragon Ball point, it's easy for this to seem played out. So it's cool that we're actually seeing versions of this, 2 of them this month, that have potential. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed comes to PC, the PlayStations, and the Xboxes on October 18th. At number 5 is New Tales from the Borderlands. If you remember, Tales from the Borderlands was a Telltale game series. This one is the same idea, probably going to play pretty much the same, except for it's actually developed by Gearbox, the creators and developers of all of the Borderlands games, save for Tales of the Borderlands. Interestingly enough, they hired a few people from the original game's development team because, as you know, although Telltale Games exists now, it exists in a different state in which a lot of the original employees are not there. So I think that it's fair to assume this is going to be a competent version of Tales from the Borderlands. And obviously, all of these games exist in the same universe continuity, I think. So I don't think that it changes anything from Tales of the Borderland, but they consider it standalone. So, it doesn't depend on the story of the original Tales from the Borderlands. It is going to have 5 episodes, but all of them are going to be released at one time rather than over the course of several months or even years with some of these various Telltale likes. It picks up about a year after Borderlands 3, and I think that's everything you need to know. New Tales from the Borderlands is landing on the PC, the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and Switch October 21st. And number 4 is Bayonetta 3. If you know Old Falcon from a while back, Bayonetta is, of course, a series I hold near and dear to my heart. Really just a fantastic Platinum game series that has never failed, in my opinion. When they picked it back up to make a sequel for Nintendo Switch, I was a little confused as to the platform, but I didn't care. I was just happy to get more Bayonetta because the first one is just hack and slash bliss. It's such a fantastic game. The second one is equally great. It ups the ante, and apparently that's the goal here as well. This particular entry into the series is about preventing the destruction of many worlds. There's a new enemy known as the Singularity, and there are various non-heavenly threats, man-made monsters, homunculi. You've heard the word before, but they're using it here like it's novel. It's not. Tons of Japanese media has homunculi in it, Full Metal Alchemist, blah, blah, blah. If I'm gonna be completely honest, I couldn't care less what the story is. I know it's gonna be completely insane because it's Bayonetta. Take me on the ride. Bayonetta 3 is landing on Nintendo Switch October 28th. And number 3 is Scorn, a game we have talked about for a very, very long time. It was first announced way back in 2014 as Dyson. I want to say we started following it here in 2017, and we've talked about it on and off since then. This is kind of a Tool album cover as The Witness, is basically how I understand it now. It's a body horror kind of techno-organic structure that looks both gross and technological at the same time. There is also some plain-ass FPS shooting, but all of the biomechanical weapons look painful. Not just to, shoot people with, but just to exist. They look like pure pain. It's one of those games where I think Agony kind of messed up the perception of the genre where this looks pretty different than Agony, actually. Honestly, from everything I've seen in recent years, it looks like they're going for a puzzle game, of course with a healthy dose of survival horror, and I'm interested to see how this comes out, good or bad, to be clear. Just to be clear, this could turn out bad and still be an incredibly interesting game that's worth paying attention to. I don't think it's gonna be. I think it's probably gonna be good. I'm gonna be playing it when it lands on PC and the Xbox Series on October 21st. And number 2 is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which sounds weird to say, but it's the sequel to the 2019 reboot, and it is a direct sequel. It features a lot of the same characters, and the story takes place 3 years after the 2019 reboot. Basically, it starts after a missile strike from the United States, killing a foreign general, and Task Force 141, the unit from the game, is basically trying to contain this situation, stop it from getting much more complicated and a bigger problem. This is also the first Call of Duty to be released on Steam in a long time. I thought the reboot was quite good, and I am excited to see more of it. It's cool that they have decided to continue this series in a more realistic fashion, because the original Modern Warfare series got pretty absurd, almost science fiction eventually. So we'll see exactly how this one plays out when it comes out on PC, the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and it will do so on October 28th. And finally at number 1 is Gotham Knights, an action RPG, which comes to us from WB Games Montreal, the developers of Arkham Origins. It stars Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, and the Red Hood, and it is set in an open-world Gotham City in the aftermath of Batman's death. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I don't think Batman is dead. I think that that's probably what everybody thinks going into this, and I think you'll probably find him at some point. I don't know that he'll be playable at any point. If he is, maybe it'll be a DLC or a secret character, but I have a feeling, given the Gotham Knights investigate Batman's disappearance, they'll find him. The bad guys are the Court of Owls, which is a very old secret society. It's probably going to be an interesting game. It's kind of a big swing, so if it connects, probably going to be a home run. Gotham Knights is landing on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series on October 21st. A few bonus games for you, starting with Dakar Desert Rally, a game that bills itself as the biggest off-road rally racing adventure ever developed. That's landing on PC, the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and Switch on October 4th. Moving on to Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. We've put this in bonus because it's been in early access for a while. It's great. It's absolutely worth your time. It's landing on the PlayStations, the Xboxes. I don't know that it's coming out of early access on PC, and I don't care because it's great. Seriously, it's a very enjoyable game. That's landing October 25th. Next is the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection on PC. It's about time. I can't wait to play these games on PC. That's coming October 19th. Resident Evil Villages Shadows of Rose DLC, a 4-hour story featuring the daughter of Ethan Winters. There was a bit of a tease that Ethan Winters is not actually dead, so we'll see exactly how that plays out. Buying this DLC also will give you access to the third-person mode that has been heavily touted. That looks great. Honestly, it looks very much like the Resident Evil remakes, and yeah, I'm all about that for Resident Evil Village. Finally, Persona 5 Royale is landing on a slew of new platforms. Probably the one people are most excited about is the Switch, but it's landing everywhere. It was on PS4, now it's going to be on that, PC, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and of course, the one everyone is really excited for, Nintendo Switch, and it's landing October 21st. You have no idea how much time I'm going to waste on Persona 5 again. Probably on PC actually, but maybe on Switch. I'm really excited for it though. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.